What's good, everybody? Appreciate y'all tuning back in to the Unruly Philosopher Show. Today, I got a special guest, Ricky Prestige. What's good, man?
Not much, man. Glad to be here with you. Glad to be in Atlanta. They got a nice setup here. I know we about to have an interesting conversation.
Oh yeah. We definitely gonna dive deep today
Yes, sir.
into all schools of thought.
That's
For
it.
sure. So yeah, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, I go by Ricky Prestige Leverett Jr. I'm a ordained minister of metaphysics, as well as an author, meditation instructor, you name it when it comes to spirituality. Social media influencer, that's what they call me now, I guess. I guess you make it to a certain point, you get that name.
Yeah.
Thought leader, I guess they say thought leader, and I'll take those titles. But yeah, that's my main thing. I'm just trying to teach people, or teach people the power of themselves, the power within them that's already they were naturally born with, and I hope to teach a generation that and build some people up. That's my goal.
For sure. And I see that you're a 4 times author.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You know?
sir. I got 4 different books, but they all kind of go into the same basically, I guess I could say curriculum. It's all dealing with the mind. I started out with the mind alignment right there, wake up your stolen greatness through mind power. That was the first one. I dropped that during quarantine, actually, 2020. I dropped that. And then after that, I said, okay, I feel like mind alignment, the first one was more like universal knowledge about the mind.
Yeah.
Then I shifted and I brought out mind alignment 2.0,
Mm-hmm.
paradigm shift of the black mind, because I think it's another element of our programming that needed to be taken a deeper look into when it's dealing with the mind. And then I came with the workbook, mind alignment, manifestation workbook. So it go hand in hand with the books. And then we got the children's book, Amir's Hidden Superpower, a book about mind power.
That's dope.
Yes, sir.
So let's dive into that. One of your chapters is about the power of the mind, and most of my content is based around mind power. That's why I wanted to connect so we can really dive into that.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, like, the greatest tool you got, the most powerful thing on this planet is a mind.
That's
your
right.
mind.
That's right.
And so, what are some of the things you teach about how to use the mind more efficiently, how to navigate through it is what I would say.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I teach is it's 2 parts of the mind. It's your conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go into just basically how certain beliefs we've been told, certain things that we think about ourselves. We may have put it on ourselves, or we might have been programmed, parent, whatever it may be, school, the system, whatever it may be. You have thoughts running in the background that directly affect what you see on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first learned about it, I went into it on a website called Creating Power. And I was in college, you know what I'm saying? My mom had bought me an old computer. It was running slow. I ain't even used it for that, really. I got on it and I just got into this website called Creating Power. And they just kept talking about the subconscious. I never heard of that. But they were saying it, they were selling it to me too, though. Like, you could be rich, which you can.
Mm-hmm.
You could be rich, you could be famous. They sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So that grabbed me at 20, probably 21.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I've just been studying and I've seen how it affected my world and changed me as a person. And I realized that it wasn't just about material things. It was more so about the way I felt within my own self. And it helped me out so much that I started spreading it to other people. But main thing I teach is just limiting beliefs can easily hold you back from some of the things that you really want to do in life.
That's true, because, all these distractions around us are always trying to get us to, like, compartmentalize our thoughts when it's like we should be free thinkers and then decide what's best for us. But it's like the society just wants you to just go to school for this, but don't do nothing else.
Right.
I need you to focus this on this. But when it's like that minimizes our overall powers, because we can do multiple things.
That's right.
We can do whatever we want, but it's like the system constantly wants you to be this. Don't think about this. They want you to grow up, be this, raise your family, and then die, pretty much.
That's it.
And it's nothing else to that. So where it's like it's missing something. And it's like, since I was a kid, I always felt like there was something more out there. You
Me
know what I'm
too.
saying? And growing up how I grew up, I had a broken home. Um, Mother and father. Mother was on, drugs. She eventually took her
Mm.
life because
Mm.
as I got older. My
Yeah.
father's was a drug dealer. He's in prison
Mm.
still to this day. He's unrelated from drugs though.
Mm.
And so I've always understood certain things, even like from my mother's perspective. I
Mm.
knew she was fighting something greater than just what that drug was
That's right.
because of just conversations I would have with her as a kid.
That's
And
right.
she's always tell me that, that I was going to be great. And I believed it. And she said, I just know you are, and she's like, because I knew at 5 years old,
Mm.
like what crack cocaine was,
Right.
but
Right.
I would hear about it, but I would see it,
You exposed early.
exposed to it. So I used to wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and just have conversations with my mother. Like I wanted her to stop. And she'd
Mm.
always just tell me she would. And so instead of me like, as a kid, I used to be hurt about it, but as I got older, I understood like she's
Mm.
fighting something greater that has a deeper, it's deeper, something way deeper, like in like what I learned to be her subconscious mind, that's that's feeding that habit,
Trauma.
you know.
Trauma.
And so I never internalized that. With my mom, I always had this a heart to understand that. And it's like the older I got, and the more I dove into that mind power, I recognized
Mm-hmm.
like that feeling I had as a kid. It like solidified it for me. Like I knew that my mother knew I was a beacon of light, and
Mm-hmm.
that I
Early.
wasn't gonna fall and suffer like she was. And she was trying to tell me, even though I wanted her to stop, I knew and I just recognized like it's something greater at works here, and
That's right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real. And that kind of breakdown, I'm glad you went into that because that kind of break down what I was saying earlier about why I did Mind Alignment 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like the universal knowledge, like you create your mind, create your thoughts, and your thoughts create your reality, law of attraction, the basics.
Yeah,
But I looked at my people, the things I've been through,
yeah,
the things that we exposed to, the traumas that we went through. And I noticed that, we don't notice how much that affects us. Even going into poverty trauma. Poverty is a trauma.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Sexual abuse, things like that. And a lot of people, especially some of our parents,
Mm-hmm.
they really went through that with no help. No, they didn't even know it was a name of trauma or something like that. Then you go into ancestral trauma and it goes further. So in the book, I break down a lot of the like African American psychology because it's a certain it has its own section for specifically for us based
Mm-hmm.
on the traumas, slavery, generational curses, all these things. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go into drugs and through the 80s and 90s, and probably all our parents probably experimented. My pops told me, I don't want to put him out there, but
Yeah.
he said everybody was doing it in 85. They didn't know what was going to come next
Yeah,
until it got addictive, and then he seen the effects of it. But yeah, man, like that's real. Like, and I commend you for being able to overcome
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times that trauma or that spirit will get passed on in that household, and you will either get angry or you'll be even greater. So you took
Yeah,
an
yeah. It's like I knew at a young age I had to.
yeah.
Like I got 6 other siblings. I knew I was different than them,
Mm,
but I knew I was the one to really gonna be able to
it's
get
different.
us. Yeah, because I ended up, being really good in football, and
Mm,
that was like my outlet. That was where I could take
mm,
my mind and not think about the other things that was going on.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like redirecting like the trauma I had, just everything I was lacking. Football kind of gave me like that cushion. You know what I'm saying?
Channel it.
And I ended up getting me scholarships. It just gave.
Oklahoma. You was in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Playing?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, went to school out at the University of Wyoming. I went to Division
nice.
One,
Yeah.
and then I've transferred back home to Central Oklahoma, which is the largest
Oh, you
division.
played ball D1?
Yeah, I play football.
Yeah, okay. Bro got all kind of stuff going on. Yeah, just D1, not too major. Man, bro.
And so, one thing I always recognize is that, the power of like my mind and how powerful it was, and that I knew I could sacrifice some things to,
Mm,
and that I couldn't expect some others, especially like siblings. I knew, leaving to go play football, they may give me a better chance of playing, NFL.
Yeah.
But that wasn't always my hopes. I knew I was intelligent to do other things.
Right.
And so, but that experience of being out on my own taught me a lot because I didn't have parents at the time. I was just out there by myself. You know what I'm saying? I've been out there by myself, not to go deep into like my own personal life, but
that's real though.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was adopted. I got taken away from my mother at one point in time. All of us did. I was separated when I was 11 and a half.
Wow.
And so then I ran away from my adopted parents twice. Second time I was successful. The first time I was in the 8th grade and they made me go back. And so that started a whole nother form of
bucking the system.
And like I felt like I was getting a lot of resistance from even like my adopted parents because I didn't think like them, and I felt like I was in prison at that point in time because I was already angry that I got taken away from my mother and my father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went through boys' homes, foster care, and finally getting adopted. So it's like all I could think about is like my siblings and stuff. And so it's like that power of the mind. I always understood even though I'm trying to navigate through my own stuff, I still gotta stay solid and remember like, what am I even doing this for still? And I always had like my siblings to know like, I got y'all. No matter what.
You was the oldest?
I got an older sister, but I'm like the oldest though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I remember
they look to you for things.
Yeah, and at 17, I finally ran away and never went back home, and I've been on my own since.
Wow, man, that's
so
a story.
Everything that I've accomplished, been successful, failed at, has been like my own trial and error because I didn't have nobody guiding me.
That's what makes you the best though sometimes.
And I'm still learning, I still make mistakes, and so, but that's just the beauty of life.
Yeah.
So, which makes me want to dive into the another chapter in your book called The Law of Attraction.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people like to talk about the law of attraction, but sometimes I feel like
they ain't really.
They talk about it when it's benefiting them, but when it ain't benefiting them, it's like, is that law not applying no more? Or you know what I'm saying?
It's hard for everybody to do that.
So what you got to say about that, man?
Oh yeah, that's a good question though, because law of attraction makes accountability the key element of it. So a lot of times people choose to not even believe it because they're saying, "There's no way that I want to be broke. There's no way that I created this." Situation I'm in right now. And then a lot of times people will do that and they'll throw it on other people. They're like, no, it's this person, it's the system, it's this. But when you think about the mind and you go into it, it gives you that accountability of yourself regardless of what's going on the outside because you know that you can change it.
Yeah.
So the bad things taught me about the law of attraction, basically, because I started noticing, dang, when I thought that, I was just thinking she gonna cheat on me. She gonna cheat. Just saying everything like in my head. I can't trust these people. Boom, it happens.
Yeah.
That was the first part. I don't know why I chose that one, but that was one thing that I remember when I kept repeating things in my mind or thinking or being paranoid about things or saying, I ain't gonna be able to do that. Like even with the books and stuff. I wanted to write a book for years. But I always said, who am I to write a book?
Yeah.
Who am I to tell somebody about their mind? I'm over here, I got $8 in my account. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to hear me talk. You know what I'm saying? So I talked myself out of it.
Yeah.
And then as I got stronger with my own thoughts, I just was able to believe in myself. And that is the part that I think people are missing. They're thinking about, like how I said before, people try to sell you that idea of the law of attraction, but it's not material based. It is an inner work. It's invisible. Like it changes you when you, and then you begin to attract things in your world. But just because it's bad doesn't mean that the law of attraction and work is actually working better for most people. Bad things, because that's what they've been programmed to have a negativity bias.
Because it's all energy at the end of the day.
It's
It's like I tell people all the time, I say I take my wins like I take my losses. And I've always did that in football. And I feel like some people used to probably think like we'd win, we'll lose. And people used to think I didn't care, but it's like, it's all the same to me. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. I appreciate the praise that I even get on social media, but also the negativity too. Because it's up to me how I'm going to alchemize that. You know what I mean?
That takes that right there though that you're doing. That takes a lot of work before you get to that mindset of looking at something. Like I still fight with it, but I get what you're saying because it's like a lot of times negativity didn't teach you the most anyway.
Yeah.
Like I can do that. I overcame that or things like that. So I get what you're saying because I use hate as a fuel, transmuting. Change it something that's beneficial to you.
And I just learned too, even some things you may take as negative, sometimes can be something you may need to work on. Somebody may say something that may trigger me, but at the end of the day, I have to sit back and think. Before I say something, let me really think about what they said to me.
Right.
Maybe this is something, because I'm big on like, information. And it's like, maybe it's something that I need to store in my brain to my computer to really utilize,
because we're not always right. We always feel like it, and when you let your ego stand in your way like that, it only hurts you in the end.
Yeah, that's why it's better just to, even if you feel triggered, just to be quiet for a minute, sit still.
That's where I'm at with it. Triggers, especially dealing with people you love. I don't care about nobody on social media. They can say what they want to say, bro. You ain't doing. Now, I don't even know where you at. Every time somebody hate you, you notice you go to their page and it's like, bro, you ain't got no followers. You ain't got nothing going on.
It's like, man, I can really just.
Yeah, I can read you right now. I can really hurt your feelings because I know where your mind at and why you even came on my post. So
it's because ones that are really doing the work, we know that hate they give you is coming from somewhere deeper they ain't addressed yet. Yeah, and it's like it's cool. But sometimes I'll entertain it because it's funny. But sometimes I'm like, why go back and forth with why go back and forth with this person all day? And you done wasted 3 hours of your day. Yeah. Got somebody you don't even know mad.
It gets serious.
And on the other side, they probably really mad though.
Yeah.
And me, I'm
happy they making you mad.
Happy they making you mad.
That's their job.
It's like, that's their job. You're exactly right.
I done had some days like I had speaking this kind of stuff, I done had a lot of people attack me, like all since social media. 10 years ago, people saying you worship the devil or, whatever it may be, anything that's outside of what they believe, they throw it on me. And I'm like, you think I'm like, it's evil that exists, bro. Me talking about the mind is not the worst thing you need to be worried about. I think if I was evil, I'd really be trying to do something that's harming people. This is me trying to educate people, so it doesn't even make sense to say that it's evil.
People say things are evil because they don't understand. They don't understand it. Mm-hmm. But that goes into like God and devil. Yeah. The reason why people have problems with it because they're trying to humanize it so much to where they believe the devil is real, when in reality it's just an ancient aspect of like negative polarity. But they hear negative, they think that's as bad. But it takes negative polarity to push positive forward. They don't even realize there's always a resistance out there. It's always. Yeah. For every good person, there's somebody out there that's your opposition. That's just how this world works. Right. As much as we want to think of this utopia of people that's living in peace,
never. It's not part of the universal laws. It would be a balance to Earth.
Exactly. Just to bring that full circle. It's not a part of those laws, And but there's just so many law correspondence. It's just a lot of people don't understand that. And I said it on my last podcast, there's nobody above those laws. That's the one thing everybody falls. Yeah.
You can't do nothing. You can't get past it. No judge, no police, no president. You still a victim to
those laws always exist. And like our ancestors understood those laws and they broke them down as to individual gods, quote unquote gods, but really they were just aspects of us that was personified as energy.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I may look at the wind or I may look at the sky and call it something and may even make a deified figure. Yeah. But
put personality to it.
Our ancestors were teachers. They were griots. They knew that visualization was the first language. Just like we look at logos, we get attached to that. That's why the society now weaponizes that against us because they're tapping into something that's ancient that we ain't fully unlocked to understand yet. So we're attracted to the Nikes. We're attracted to the glitz and glamour.
Yeah. And Nike is a deity. Yeah. Originally anyway. Yeah. Like, even the name tell on it.
Yeah. So it's like, diving into like metaphysics, occult science,
Right.
all those schools of thought, it's our stuff.
Right.
And we'll call it evil though. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how good the program worked. That's how well it worked. It literally made us scared of our own selves.
Yeah.
To a point where people will crucify you if you're different. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
black sheep you or blackball you for certain reasons. And sometimes, to be honest though, now that I think about it, because I thought about something I might have just thought about that. Sometimes that might be in my head too though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like thinking that people are out to get me.
Yeah.
You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because at one point, and I say why I say that, because at one point, I used to be so ready for that. Like, oh, bro, coming with that, he don't know nothing. I'm finna type him. I'm typing a whole paragraph, bro. I'm going in. Actually, Jesus, you know, I'm thinking I'm doing something. Like you say, I'm sitting there 3 hours heated, ready to find him in Chicago. I'm in Georgia.
Yeah,
like bro, if you was in my face, bro, like, man, I wouldn't even act like that.
Yeah.
But that's how, I guess I'm doing what you said. I take the negative and I look at myself with it like, maybe I'm looking for this.
It's always good to check your own thoughts and self-evaluate at all times.
Right.
Like, as soon as you feel like something's making you feel a certain way, ask yourself,
Where'd that come from?
Where'd it come from? Or like, are my thoughts my thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people run around here with thoughts that ain't theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell, especially if you diving into a lot of subconscious mind, conscious mind studies, you can ask anybody a certain set of questions,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna give you a certain standardized answer. You
Yeah.
can just go randomly to 20 people, and they're gonna keep giving you the same answer, because you can realize, all right, what they think is their thoughts ain't really there. They ain't ever evaluated their own thoughts.
Right.
But that's how a lot of times you catch yourself arguing with people on the internet that's into religion. They ain't even took the time to even read, let alone read the Bible. First of all, they ain't even took the time to go read their own history to know that our history predates people.
That's what got me. Like, that was the key right there. I was like, 6,000 years. The government, science said we got trees been here.
So it's like,
mountains and pyramids been here thousands, and sometimes they even put that million of years on there.
It's like they trying to tell us how long we've been here, but they don't want to directly tell you that you outlived all this. You know what I'm saying? We've been told when it comes to like religion and stuff, you can tell like people ain't really trying to study for truth or find it. They just going with another man's philosophy and thought process, when the dangerous part about that is we built a whole reality based off of a book. When really the greatest book that we can ever have is our own story. That's more powerful than somebody else wrote, because in reality, your family will benefit more from knowing what you did while you was here, passing that on, than what some people supposedly that lived 2,000 years ago did.
Yeah.
When they ain't telling us how our ancestors built the pyramids. They ain't telling us how they farm. You can't build no civilization off of no religious book.
You can't. And especially when you're taking it literal.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of our people taking it like literally, like that really had to happen. And I believe in it, that's what makes it a reality, which is true in a sense, because if everybody stopped believing in it, it wouldn't even exist no more. You know what I'm saying? So they have made Jesus into bigger than the idea. Even if he did exist, the idea is bigger than that now. It's like he's a Messiah, and but they say. I don't really get into religion too much, but what they say is they're just saying like he was a teacher. He's just a regular, Christ was a title. So I get it, but I think it's a lot of Christ-like figures. Even some of our heroes, unruly philosophers.
We deify people. We just don't look at it like Malcolm X,
Tupac,
Nipsey.
As soon as they die,
we're giving them the same aspect, but you tell somebody that, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. I'm like, but you revere them in the same way.
1,000 years from now, somebody could say Pac was Jesus.
Yeah, and the thing about it, that's why I'm big on like, when I say, people, I always say like we never truly die, we just transition. But like what you leave behind, that's what keeps you living forever.
That's
you got
true.
a book. There's no way you can ever truly die.
Yeah. That's how I looked at it.
You left something here.
Right.
So somebody can pick that up, and every time they even speak your name, think of you, they bringing back that essence because, we're made of fire, we're energy.
Yeah.
So I can always call on that. I read this book and something may come over me that makes me feel good. And that's just like your spirit, your essence still living on. And it's not energy that's not used is stagnant. It's still there.
Yeah.
It's not being used.
Yeah, it don't have no energy. It don't
It's
have
the
no
same
fuel behind
with,
it.
What was that in the movie? Your Brad Pitt when he was Achilles. Was that in the movie when he was talking about, they'll never remember your name? And I think
Braveheart?
maybe
No, it wasn't
that was
Braveheart.
300. Maybe that was 300 or something. When somebody had said something and he was just telling them like, this is why they'll never remember your name.
Mm.
And it's like, you want people, your legacy should be when somebody thinks of you, it puts something over them to want to do something. Like when I leave this realm, I want people when they think of me that all the good I did, they think about that and it makes them want to get up and go do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the truth.
But that's like with books and stuff like that. Like that's your mind that you put into there.
Right.
Information.
And that's why like when I first dropped the book, that was the idea I kept in my mind because I thought about when I would grab a book. It might that one thing that grabbed me, Napoleon Hill said it. He was like, and this when I was first getting into stuff, it was Think and Grow Rich, the one where he's sitting at his desk and it's in black and white. Something that they thought I wasn't gonna never find. I found it. But I was like, what is this man talking about? Most of us will skip that. So I listened. Yeah. And he said something then, because I still remember I was in my college little dorm room or apartment, whatever I had. And he was like, this information that I'm laying now will help people living now, and it's going to help people 100 years from now. And I sat back and I thought about it. I said, man, that man was right. I wasn't born. This is black and white. It's like 1930s. And then in 2000, whatever it was, I'm seeing it. So when I always think about that, like he was right. Mm-hmm. This is going to benefit. I'm making this video. He didn't know it was going to be a YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He didn't know. We don't know what this may become. Yeah. Like us having this conversation, maybe you get a certain amount of views there, but this might come up 10 years later. You start the school and this is you get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's so true when you say like you make something that lives past you. My idea while writing that was I hope some kid or a teenager one day pick this up in 2045. They daddy bought it or something from me or something, or it just landed there because that's how books come to me. I just pick it up and I'll be like, dang, man, that hit me. And that's what I was hoping for with that.
I think that was the main reason why ancestors documented things eventually on walls. And they built temples.
It ain't going nowhere.
They built pyramids because when you seen that, it says something to you, especially if you was in that culture.
Activate some of your DNA.
They knew 500,000 years from now, their intentions were for the descendants later to see that and and be able to recognize their greatness.
And they said it was going to be at this time. Like this is how we were going to go through all of that, and then we were going to wake up, and then as you see these years recently. Things have changed, so I think we like the forerunners or the forerunners of something major.
Yeah, it's definitely a power shift coming. And people, when they think about power, they think of like from a let's say from a westernized European standpoint of like physical stuff. The real power is your mind.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's the ultimate. Like I said, physical pain is temporary, but mental pain and fortitude, that's everlasting. You can,
that's a spirit over you.
And I had to learn that though. I used to be a fighter growing up. You know what I'm saying? Always like physically fighting. I used to like
hook.
Yeah, man.
You're dangerous on the low end, bro. I can see it.
And so, but in college, I knew I needed to release some of that tension, so I started going to an MMA gym and boxing gym.
Yeah.
I did that on and on for like 7 years. So I learned how to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and so when I be out in the streets, I be like, damn, I just fucked this dude up. You know what I'm saying?
You can kick somebody's ass like as soon as they get to talking great. I always wanted to have that ability, but I don't know.
A valuable lesson I learned was like one of my last fights. This is the last time I ever been to step foot in the club too. I got in a fight. One of my solid best friends was the college quarterback. He got into it with some dude off in there. And it was over some chick too. It wasn't his chick though, but it was he was hollering at some girl. The guy happened to not even be with the girl. He was just happened to be there with her, but he was mad.
Yeah.
And so I seen him getting into it, and I just seen my boy push him. But they was on the stage. You know how guys ain't supposed to be on top of the stage, only for women. Pushed him off the stage.
Damn.
And so I was sitting there about to take a shot. I put my shot down. all the people that grew up with me knew, like, I was her friend no matter what. I was a friend, like, if you call me,
you gonna ride.
I'm a ride. But now, if you call me and I get up out of bed and you done squash it, somebody's still getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, you mad at maybe because you got to get in the mind state to get that on.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So I end up like walking out to go check on my friend, but all the bouncers was trying to throw me off of him. I ain't no bullshit. I fucked up like 5 bounces, but I fell and hit my head. So I had to get staples. I fell back and hit my head, and I remember taking my shirt off and just holding it on my head and wringing it out. Blood. Ooh. And so my other partner that was there, he was the cop. He's like, bro, we gotta get you out of here. But at the time, man, I was working for the government. I'm about to crash my whole life away because of not knowing how to regulate those emotions and not utilizing that true power. And so what I learned from that too is a lot of different things. But the most important thing is I ended up, going to the hospital, getting staples in my head, doing all that, not going to jail, not catching the felon, none of that. But I learned from that. That was the last time I ever fought somebody. And I realized that I got to use my mind more. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. Now, at that point in time, did I have to fight him? No, I could have just let him kind of throw me out, but I didn't want him. You ain't about to just grab me and toss me.
And then they be getting out of hand.
Yeah, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
I wasn't going for that. And I was to be like bigger. I'm talking about rock solid, just solid.
You in shape. Yeah.
And so
D1 now.
Yeah. After that fight, I had to lay low for like 7 months. I didn't want to catch no charges. I didn't know if they were looking for me because one of the guys had to get like staples.
Dang,
I didn't feel bad.
I
didn't necessarily feel bad about what I did because they ain't had no business. I was going to check out my friend, but they just wanted to toss me out too.
That's their fault. Yeah, so you're right. They signed up for that.
Back in those days, you gave me...
Because they would have drugged you if they could.
Back in those days, if you gave me an opportunity to kick ass, I was going to kick ass. I wasn't going to take no pass.
What this is, what years these is? I don't want to say age.
What year was this? I'm 36. It was 10 years ago.
You 36? Yeah. Okay.
I'll be 37 this year.
Oh, we the same age then.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was...
Dang.
And so what I learned to realize is like, never let somebody get you off your square. You know what I'm saying? Some people try to antagonize you, but you can lose it all. I almost lost it all. And like I'm talking about, this is money I was making to take care of my siblings, my family, everything. And I almost squandered it all away.
Over a second.
Could have caught a felony, and that would have just followed me the rest of my life.
I can speak to that. As well.
I've given out a lot of passes over the years, but it's giving me a lot of peace because I know
he gave some passes out.
So it's like I know what comes with that, and people know me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I just recognize now. It's like I fought with that though.
Yeah.
Because I felt like when I stopped fighting and I just started passes, I just started letting shit go. I felt like I was being weak by doing it when I really wasn't.
Yeah. That's really the strongest thing you can do is not be triggered or be triggered and then don't go physical or emotion, put that emotion behind it. Man, that's a real story though. Like, because I know what you're talking about and then that switch will hit and you blacked out. And you don't think about it until you wringing that blood out, like you said, till the police got you like this. And that's the regret. I hate the feeling of regret. Like the fight, the times that I have done things, police got involved in a fight or whatever it was, because I did the same thing at you see, mine ain't as dramatic because I ain't no MMA fighter though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just went to the
broke
gym.
my nose in the fight, but
I just went to the gym. I didn't fight.
Okay.
I just liked the training because I knew there was other tough people in there.
Yeah, them boys don't play right now. MMA is dangerous, but you got to be thrown off a little bit to even want to participate in that. So I got respect for all boxers.
Yeah.
anybody can go to war individually. You know, you ain't got no team. Well, you got a team, but it's just you inside there. But yeah, and as a black man, you really got to be careful with that, because we throw out, they already expect us to throw our life away. And then when you're doing good, they really want you to do that. So now you're just another person out the way, and falling into a system. And I can speak to that because the way I was before this, I was programmed into certain things, being, you know, all we knew to be, you my age, so all we knew was trap or die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We Jeezy, bro. Like, I'm Jeezy, man. I'm T.I.
Can't ban the snowman.
Yeah, can't ban it. So never, still ain't forgave myself. You know, I'm running 85 Cutlass on some Data Danes.
Man, it's like childhood memories are spinning back. You got Cash Money coming back together.
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
Like, man, what's going on here?
Man, they programmed us the worst though. Like we had it like, well, maybe the 90s with NWA might be a little worse, but when it got to us, like that little 2000 there, all you had to do was sell. All you thought you could do was sell drugs. Even if you in school, because I was in college and I seen a lot of people become short or low at school, and your mom brought you up here, bro. What you doing? Like our mom was like, bro, your mom was not thinking you up here selling no pounds. But that's why I say you go back to, as a black person, and it go back to what you say with programming. We could walk up and down the strip right now, ask certain questions to a couple of black individuals or black males, and they're gonna have the same type of answer, or they're gonna think they got to answer that way. You know, that ego gonna kick in. So I agree with you what you're saying as far as, you know, just for one, being triggered easily, and for two, being a black man being triggered, that hole is even deeper that you will put yourself into.
You know, I could have wound up in the same place my dad's still been in.
That's what
and
I'm saying.
A lot of that I recognize I didn't know how to regulate these emotions. I was never taught that. So fighting was how I expressed it.
It made sense.
But as black men, we do things on the limb and we wind up in prison 20, 30, or maybe for life off of something that was 5 seconds, or you done robbed somebody for $10 and got a life sentence because you wind up killing somebody. It may not have been your intentions, but my fighting could have led to that. Luckily, it never did.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. But like, it could have. I could have easily been on the other side of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I had to like teach myself these techniques and do like, you know, you got a chapter that talks about like negative self-talk. I used to deal with that. A lot of people wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah. But one thing about I wanted to be was authentic and just come online to talk about things I dealt with. But on the outside, everybody see me as a great football player. You know,
a star
football player. You know, successful.
You got it together, must be.
Yeah, and I didn't.
It's
you
deep.
know, I just wore it well.
Right, you know right. A lot of people doing that though.
You know,
man.
and I don't tell people I didn't even man out until I got into like my 30s. But I feel like because I didn't have role models, I didn't have mentors in my life. This is me trying to, you know, chisel my own statue, trying to sharpen myself as I go, and I make mistakes in relationships, no matter if it's personal relationships, friendships, whatever. It's like I was still trying to be a better communicator, express myself more, give myself more self-love talk and everything. And it's like these are things that I finally realized up until about 3 years ago, you know, that things I still needed to work on. There's such things I need to work on.
It's everlasting.
Yeah. And it's like the minute I became honest with myself and like, I got to stop fighting. You know what I'm saying? I need to start working on communicating more. You know, I need to really do certain things that I really want to do and not worry about what other people are thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to be recognized as just being a football player. I was intelligent. I worked for the Tinker Air Force Base as a MSDS manager, which is classified like a chemical engineer. I left that job to go work for the Federal Aviation Administration as a radar technician, engineering technician, a radar engineer. Yeah. I did 2 of those things. I don't have no engineering degree, but it's because I wanted to really, I was doing it for myself, but I wanted to show the people like, I'm just not a football. Like football was, for me, was just a tool. I never loved it like that. But I know people that love it so much. They still at my age trying to make it to the league. I'm like, bro,
bro, I need to let it go, bro.
Packed that stuff up a while ago.
Bro.
It's like,
you don't want none of them 21-year-olds.
I always understood programming.
Yeah.
So I love football enough to get me out the hood.
Right.
To help get my siblings there. It got me paid too. You know what I'm saying? But all that experience helped me become more disciplined, because with football, you had to have structure. You got to, you know, I knew being on time was not on time. It's like, the coach was like, you better be here early. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I learned these structures because I was out in the world at 17 as a ward of the court.
Yeah.
As my own adult. So I had to learn these things, and it carried on for 10, 15 years until like up to a few years ago, kind of COVID, is when I kind of hit my rock bottom. You know, I made a lot of decisions business wise, relationship wise, friend wise, I felt like it all came to a head to where I recognized, like, you got to turn this ship around now. You know what I'm saying? You know what
Before
to
you
do,
crash out.
but you're letting these years of like unaddressed things keep carrying. It's like at one point in time, you're going to cut it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I fight with that myself, you know, and I feel like if I hadn't learned the things I learned, I feel like I would have been way worse off, because I don't even know how people making it out here without knowing these principles and knowing how your mind affect your world, because they bombarding you with propaganda. They're bombarding us with negativity. And a lot of you can hear in people rhetoric that they say, you know, they everything high, every government doing it, you know, and stuff like that, which is true at this point, but at the same time, it can turn you into a victim. You know what I'm saying? Without even noticing it. Yeah. So like you got to it just always go back to self, or how you're gonna let certain things.
That brings me into the next topic is the chapter 5. You got decoding the matrix.
Oh yeah,
so
that's my favorite chapter.
In that chapter, that's mine.
That was the one.
I seen in the chapter that you interviewed Sophia Stewart, is her name?
Right.
How was that?
That was it was like I met the Oracle herself, like from the Matrix. Like that's how I felt when I got on the phone with her. Because I used to do this podcast with called My Celebrity Life with one of my partners, and he just interviewed celebrities. He got the way, I don't know how he was plugged in like that, but he'll just get me to do the interview. But when I talked to her, she was assertive. For one, she knew what she was talking about. She knew what she wanted. It was a very powerful energy coming from her. And some of the questions I was asking, at first I could tell she was giving me the basics, because she was saying like, she came in there just wanting to talk about the case, like the Matrix, and they took a script. You know a story, right? Yeah. Okay, so they took a script. She came in there on that tip talking to us, but then she realized I knew what was going on.
She's like, you know something.
Yeah, so I said, she started breaking stuff down. She was like, yeah, that's what the whole book is about. You know, the system, it's in place. They're doing all these things, and she'll just go in. But she was a very nice woman. She was very assertive. I could tell she don't play. She'll cut you off if she don't believe what you were saying. And but for me personally, it was like I made it to another level. Like in my own little journey, I'm like, man, I just got the Oracle just came hollering at me.
Yeah, it's like you don't unlock
like literally, like literally the Oracle. I went and seen the Oracle.
You're in the presence of a God,
right? Like, she gave me a number. I lost it in that phone. She gave me a number. She was like, call her. She said, but that's another thing. Go back to them people arguing on the internet, because a bunch of white guys though, they're just telling me she ain't win or she ain't write that or something. But she was breaking down how much money she got and everything from it. It was like they did it under the table though, and they gave up millions.
Because they don't want you. They don't want you to know that.
It got stolen. In the Terminator, she said the Terminator was supposed to be. It was crazy because she said something that probably people didn't even think about, like the Terminator. I think Neo's supposed to be the Terminator's son.
They were supposed to all the
like the together. Terminator and like because the Terminator is like in the future.
Yeah.
And then I guess he saved that part, and then later Neo, the world turns into what it is the Matrix as that system, and how how they feed off us.
Yeah.
And Neo was supposed to be like Terminator's son or something, or like the lady. What did she say, man? I gotta remember that, because she said the lady that was pregnant in Terminator, I think that was supposed to be Neo. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I ain't seen Terminator since 94, but the Matrix I watch all the time. But yeah, she said basically it goes together.
you know, because I hear people always talk about the Matrix, the Matrix. We're trapped in the Matrix, but then I see them do like Matrix shit.
All the time.
You know what
All
I'm
the
saying?
time.
It's like
You might as well leave it alone and just go ahead and plug in, bro.
Yeah.
Like you might as well stop fronting on yourself.
Yeah,
Like none of us is really outside of it.
No,
period.
and
Though.
I tell people you can't escape it.
Nah, you ain't going
The
nowhere.
Matrix
That's where we at.
is a cosmic womb.
Yeah.
You're always.
That's
in
what
it.
she said.
Yeah, you got.
She said she got it from the Bible.
Yeah, we came from the Matrix when we came out of our.
That's what she said. That's exactly. I didn't even know that.
It's like when I say like nothing's never truly created. It's just a transformation from something to something else.
Yeah.
From something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like as far as I can go back, I know I came from a mother and a father, but I know I came directly out of my mother. She came from one. Like that's what I can prove. I'm not going to try to tell you we came from some mystery when. Why am I going to take that power away from my mother or my father? But I know directly.
We know that for sure.
That we can prove that
for sure.
So let's work with that.
DNA
you know what I'm saying?
today.
Let's stay in that realm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but going deeper into like the Matrix, you hear people talking about we need to escape the Matrix, but then they online talking about the same shit every day. I'm like, you may just be trapped in it even worse because you're not even giving people the right tools to navigate through the Matrix. That's the main thing. Like, it's okay to have a good life. It's okay to have nice things, but some people try to make you feel bad for having these things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I fought with that too.
I have too. When it's like,
I'm not here to be poor righteous teacher.
Yeah,
bro. I'm not. Yeah. I said on camera, I'm not here to be a poor righteous teacher. If you hear me out there, that ain't for me.
Our body, the melanin we have is the most powerful mineral on this planet.
I don't know why would I want to do that.
We got every mineral we got in our body. We're literally walking bag of money. So why would I feel bad for wearing jewelry, for having nice things?
I think we're supposed to show up like that.
Yeah.
Or either choose if we want it or don't want it.
Well, they're all minerals and crystals anyway, but people will say,
look what my hand was at, right?
Oh, you right. So I'm saying it's like
Citrate.
It's like people will. I just know how deep the Matrix and the programming is.
Yeah.
It's like those agents. They coming after me on even TikTok or social media for calling myself like a god. When it's like, what do you know what my definition of that is? Because your definition is somebody that you've been taught to in a book, but really even in those books it talks about many different gods, but people will try to make it one. But me, I'm just saying the highest extent of my mind that expresses itself through energy, nature, and matter is me personified in this physical form.
That's right.
So everything I do comes from that aspect of God, which makes me. So how can you say you're a child of God but not be a God? I'm my father's son. I'm my mother's son.
Right.
I come from them.
Right. It's within me, right?
So, it's this diving deep into this Matrix stuff, man. It's a deep, deep rabbit hole that I like diving into though.
Me too, because I'm able to see through things. Like I had to accept. And I hate, like you said, when people just like, you need to escape the Matrix. You need to do this. You need to be like this. You got to eat like this. You got to do that. Like, you have made this into another form of religion, basically, with what you're saying. So you now, like you say, now you even deeper into it because you think you out of it, but you in the heart of it now. You just put different names on things. And that's hard to deal with. They got us outnumbered right now. But the Matrix can be a lot of things though. Like you say, it means the womb. This is where we at right now. We chose to be here from what they say, right? We chose to be here. I'm still here. I haven't died yet. I might as well live this and see what's happening.
I'm gonna make the best of it.
Right. I'm not gonna sit here and fight no.
I'm not to put my life in a box I'm not worried about what's after that. I'm here.
Yeah, that's what
I can't prove to you nothing that goes on outside of this. I'm here though. You know what I'm saying?
Today, yeah.
And the thing to touch back on that, how people fall deeper into it, is because it's that motif they still have. So we know predominantly as Black people, but also humanity, when we grow up through these religions, a lot of people still haven't fully separated themselves from it. Yeah. So instead of saying God, they just say it the universe. But then if you try to tell them they're religious, they'll get mad at you. But I'm like, but you still, instead of now praying, now you're just saying meditate. but you're still using like these same concepts.
Right.
You haven't fully separated that.
Yeah.
And to me, they're just as religious people.
Yeah.
You know, but also those go into like their food. People are making food a religion.
Veganism.
Like if you don't do this, then it's like how I understand how when people deconstruct from religions, then you just see them on TikTok banging with religious people all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I know what that is too. That's that trauma that you had from that religion. And a lot of people went through trauma with church and being forced to do it.
Those religious motifs are like the habits, but that goes deeper into like the subconscious planning of those habits, and like how you break them is repetition. But it's like for me, it's like I never was really deep into religion because I always felt like something was off with it.
Yeah.
But I also knew like my power, like I'm out here doing these types of things.
Yeah.
But I went to church. I had to go to church, you know. But to spin back around, it's like, you know, you see people on TikTok, social media, all their content is about religious people, and they're saying they're spiritual. But it's like gangbanging like Bloods and Crips. But then you see the same things with people that just became vegan overnight. Now they down in people that eat meat still. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's an ego thing. Then.
Yeah, and it's like it's the same thing with like the whole African and being indigenous American movement. To me, I look at those things, all the same things. It's like just because you you go to this side, don't mean you got to fight with the other side. Because two things can be true at once. Our ancestors can come from the land of Africa. They can come from here.
Right.
So if you can only go back so far, what about what you can't prove?
Yeah.
You could be shitting on one of your ancestors that was circumnavigating the world years ago, and they want to help you on the other side, but you over here saying you ain't something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I always mindful of that to understand, like, bridge the gap. Why can't we both just appreciate that?
Yeah.
We were the first people on this planet, so technically wherever I go is my home.
Yeah.
No matter what landmass I'm on.
Yeah.
Now, right now, I'm here in America, but like to touch back on those motifs and stuff like that is, I see it every day on TikTok. It's people deconstructing from whatever, and they just beefing with people all day, every day. Mm-hmm. And it's to me, that's a trap.
It is. And I can see it from miles away. And like I was saying to you, I feel like we came in with the back door. We worked on ourselves first. And because I'm Black, I had to go into the history aspect of it because that ended up being the next thing coming up. Because we only know about most of us only know about 2-3 generations back. So we wouldn't be able to go too far. And I did my own healing with that by learning history because I was terrible at history in school. Mm-hmm. Now people pay me to speak about history. Yeah. But I'm so into it because I guess that's my metaphysical aspect of my mind. I think like everything is happening at once. You know, that's my thought process. So I'm like, I need to tap into this too. This is an aspect people like, I don't look at that slavery stuff. That's negative. No, I want to see what they was doing and at least try to get an aspect of it because like when you're in the South, you're walking on the same land that your ancestors walked on. Like my last name, it used to be a city called Leverett, Georgia. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's called Lincolnton now. It's only about 30, 45 minutes away. I never knew that though. But it's called Leverett, Georgia, of course, because the white folks' name is Leverett. And they own the damn city. This was real. Being real. So it's like, this is like, and then I started counting in my mind. I'm like, this ain't even grandma. This is like right before grandma. Like, you get what I'm saying? So this is not that long ago.
It was like, I always tell people, it's like yesterday.
Yeah, that wasn't even 100 years.
Yeah, it's just like slavery just like a lot of this stuff just happened. Like when you look on the human timeline,
that's
like
nothing
compared to
even the time we was in it is on a timeline. That's what they always say. Like they try to make time smaller so they can exist in it. And you know what I'm saying? Because it's 6,000 years, and this is not no racist. This is facts. European didn't show up until like 6,000, 7,000. What they say, something like that. Unless it was another type of human. And I don't know that, but that make my mind blow right there. Like
that goes to deeper stuff. But it's like that's the programming of the Matrix, because when I even back about all this information is that when I look at like the Bible, like my last podcast, I told people read it in the eyes of the writer instead of the viewer. What were they trying to tell you? And I said, but study history. Because when you look at those things, like you said, it's not this is just the reality of it. It seems to me like somebody's trying to place themselves in history, so they created stories, but they reinforce it to their form of power, which was physical stuff. So
and they run that.
For me to conquer somebody, I have to force myself to do that. It doesn't come natural for me to live in peace because that's just not maybe my nature to live in life.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the way we are is because we've learned those through reinforcement of programming to internalize, to hate ourselves. Because naturally you can go to any hood, no matter where, and you go find a black person. He ain't probably got a racist bone in his body don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
To that extent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just want to be in peace.
Yeah.
You know, and
but it's always something on our neck.
It's always something on our neck but that goes to like people will try to say black on black crime. Well, it's crimes by proximity. That ain't really a real thing. They push that because it's a program. Let me convince you that black people are the worst people on the planet.
But that's all they're around.
When in reality, black people are the most righteous people on the planet because we ain't even. This is like if people believe karma is real, however they want to believe it, but we haven't, in that aspect, we haven't even done anything to that extent of what's happened to us because of what's deep down ingrained in our essence, which I would say is righteousness. Like no matter what, when I look at our people, I understand that we've been through a program for so long. And it's like, it's like generations. It takes like 3 generations. It's like even like the Willie Lynch led us. No matter if the aspect, no matter if that person was real or not.
Yeah.
That mind, that thought process.
That was true.
Is real and it's true because we see it today. And it's like, I know if I can eliminate your grandfather and your grandmother.
I got you.
Now I'm raising a baby on a plantation. You don't know anything. You don't know anything but what I'm telling you. And so here we are today, raised by our ancestors and our parents that they don't know anything outside of what they kind of been learning or was taught and what they started to learn themselves. You know, that's why I look at history and to think how great we are because we left slavery and then within the 75-year span, not even 100 years, we had all these black Wall Streets everywhere. Who taught us that? It's got to be an essence somewhere. Yeah,
it's divine. It's a bigger hand at play. And that's why they always own us though. That's all I could come up with. And I'm like, why y'all even messing with us this much? But you're fearful of something about us that if we knew this, then
it's like
I guess that's their nature.
It's like it's innate. It's like a apple tree is always going to produce apples. An orange tree is always going to produce oranges.
It's in DNA.
Yeah, we're pre-coded with everything we need on this planet. So when someone has to come and put something else in your mind, is I would say is inorganic.
Yeah, it's an agenda behind it.
It's kind of like GMO food. Why create GMO food when we have the organic stuff? So what's in that? Because we know food comes from light. So what is that? You know what I'm saying? It's got to be anti-light.
Right.
Be, that could be anti devil. And that goes deeper into like stuff like that. I think anything grafted from the original is when they talk about the aspect of a devil, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like medicine, all medicine comes from something natural.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I'm saying? Not to go too deep into that, you got another chapter in your book. We can, wrap it up after this. I want you to be able to leave people with like some techniques.
Yeah.
Mind techniques they can use
definitely
to help them navigate their everyday life.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the key. Like, we can talk, we talk about deep subjects, but I like to find practical things that benefit me today in 2023. So one of the main things that I've learned that helped me more than anything is meditation, is breathing. Just simple, like I'll give you an example. You might be at work, you might be overwhelmed at that time. Simple practices like being in the now, taking a couple of deep breaths in, paying attention to the thoughts that's coming to your mind in, as a way of changing your energy. Once you do these small things, just all you got to do, if you're listening out there, you just breathe in, you hold it, and release, and do that about 4 or 5 times. And for when it triggers something in your body to say that you're in a relaxed state, that takes that stress level down. So it's like your body not fighting or flighting you at that moment. But a lot of times we just moving, we in traffic, we going to work, we upset about this. And, so I always say, like, my main thing is meditation, especially when you first wake up. You know what I mean? If you can. That's when I feel like it's the most powerful, and it steers my day. Then probably about at like 3 o'clock or whatever, depending on what I'm doing, I'll try to get another breather in. If I can, I just, focus on my own breathing. I'm really into being in nature, like being next to water. I'm really into being next to water. That's like where my thoughts really get to flowing at, and I come up with solutions to problems that I might be doing. So I'll go out there by myself, and I know I'm probably out there looking weird, but I don't care no more at this point because I know it worked. But I be everywhere at the river, just sitting there, and people be like, "What's up, bro?" But those type of things though. Go back to the program. We've been programmed to go against the things that's going to help us. What's so crazy about being next to the water, bro? Or meditating, but they look at me crazy with that. Another thing I would say is, like we was talking about self-talk. I think self-talk is key. And the only way to really fix negative self-talk is to listen to your thoughts. You know what I mean? Listen to what is it coming from you? Or did your mama say that? Did your daddy tell you that? Did your husband and wife tell you that? Whatever it may be, that created that mindset. So I always study my thoughts. Self-reflection is key. History lessons, just that relate to mostly my ancestors, just so I can tap into different. And I get power from that too, because I be like, if they can do this with all this up against them, I can do this. When the only thing against me is a TikTok troll or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So I'm really into those things, like being one with yourself, meditating, conscious breath work. What's some of the other things that I like to do just spending time with self, being around people that you love. It's simple things, but it seems so dramatic because we feel so far away from it. But spending time with your family, real family that you care about, or that, treat you with respect and respect your boundaries, because a lot of people have problems with family. That's pretty much the gist of it. Spreading love. And you'll eventually gain the momentum with these type of practices, just making them into your daily habits and things like that. So I became another person.
Yeah. I pretty much wanted you to, give a little game out to listeners out there before we wrap this thing up.
No doubt.
I appreciate you tapping in with me. We'll definitely have to do this again. Collab on a few other things.
For sure.
But like I said, I want to leave y'all listeners with, control your environment. Don't let your environment control you. Stay vigilant. You know what I'm saying? Stay patient and stay dangerous. Peace.